about the double whammy.
Job creation and education and health going.
A Tauntaun sleeping bag.
Yes, we go, a lot of changes take place.
What about all this gridlock? And it's like...
Hello and welcome to Spotlight on Jackson County. We've got a very interesting show for you here tonight on WKFK Spotlight. Joining me in the studio here at WKFK is Mr. Randy Bosarge. He is a candidate for District 5 Supervisor of Jackson County. Randy, thank you for taking the time to come to the studio.
Thank you, Doug.
It's so glad to see you again. It's been a long time since I've seen you. I'm glad you're putting your hat in the race here.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm just, you know, it's really, in my opinion, it's time for a change. District 5 is ready for, you know, I believe, a new supervisor. And, I mean, I'm a lifelong resident of Jackson County, and I feel compelled to, you know, seek out the job to hopefully make a difference.
Yeah. Well, I've known you for a long time, like I said, and I would be, sadly, you know, remiss if I tried to list all your qualifications, but can you tell the people out there looking at the show what kind of experience you have as far as things that you've done?
Sure. I worked for the Jackson County Sheriff's Office for over 16 years. I started my career as a deputy sheriff in 1982 and left the Sheriff's Office in 1999. And I started a construction business in the early 2000s and been running that successfully since to this day. And I feel like I feel like my management skills plus the time I spent as a county employee, you know, makes me a perfect candidate for supervisor because I know the county side of business and I know the self-employed type business. So I really believe that that helps me out. And also too, in the last couple of years, I've served on several state boards that handle millions of dollars in budgets, and I've been questionable on those budgets. I've voiced my opinion on some of them, where money was going, how it was being spent, on bids and contracts. I've always said my mind, and really, you know, if I offended anybody, you know, that didn't get a job, then, you know, I was just trying to watch over the taxpayers' money the best I could.
You also served on the utility board in Jackson County, did you not?
Correct. I was on the Jackson County Utility Board for about 7.5 years until recently in 2015, and where my appointment was due to be reappointed, but apparently the Board of Supervisors felt otherwise and didn't reappoint me. But there again, we handled over $100 million in money that was given to Jackson County for infrastructure throughout, mostly in the areas north of I-10, Van Cleve, Hurley Wade area, some of the Latimer area that's not being served by another utility authority, and Ocean Beach Estates area. And we've put in over $100 million worth of infrastructure, and that's debt free. That service has no debt to the citizens of Jackson County, and so it's a great way to you know, improve the infrastructure of this county, not only to be attractable to more residents, but to be attractable to more small businesses and companies at the same time.
Well, Randy, we were talking before the show, we've got several major industries in the county, but we were also talking about trying to attract more light industry into the area that would attract and create more jobs for our county. And the more jobs we have going, the higher the tax base can be. The higher the tax base can be, the less the county's going to have to worry about raising taxes, or getting the taxes raised on their property. So, being a small businessman and having that experience, you know, of running a business, and that's, you know, it's you. I mean, it's all on you. It's all on you. I mean,
it's all on me.
The buck stops with Randy when it comes to your small business. I mean,
sometimes it don't even make it to me.
Sometimes the buck doesn't get to Randy, but that experience would give you an insight, and also your utility board experience would give you an insight on the construction construction of utilities and what has to go into it, all the permitting that takes place. People think, okay, I need a water line or I need a sewer line. Well, you got all these environmental impact statements, EPA, all these other things that you got to go through before you can ever put a shovel in the ground.
Yeah, it takes months to get a project shovel ready, as they like to say. And then sometimes even when it's shovel ready, it still takes a couple of months after that or some time after that before you actually start putting in the building or facility that's going to be used to make a product.
Yeah, and then being in the construction business, we all know, I mean, even if you've done something at your home, but when you put that shovel in the ground, you may find something you didn't know was there.
That's happened a few times.
And you've got to go around it and fix it. So your experience running a business, being on the boards, state boards, being the utility boards, kind of gives you an insight about the county and its operation and what you would have to do to run it. Now, we mentioned taxes. There's been a lot out there about some people saying you're going to raise taxes when you get into office.
Right.
Is that true?
No. I wouldn't even consider raising taxes. I would want to try to figure out a way to lower taxes myself, Doug. I mean, I just, as a small businessman and a homeowner, just like every other small business person and homeowner in this county, you know, we feel like we're being, you know, taxed enough. So my goal as a supervisor would be to try to find a way to stabilize and lower taxes without having to have any kind of tax increases for anything. So I would look for ways to streamline county government and also try to bring in more revenue. If we could bring it, you know, a lot of people don't realize is in my case, being a home builder, when you build one home, that one home generates over $3,000 a year in taxes. And not only with, and I'm just saying an average size home of about $100 to $150,000, that home generates over $3,000 in taxes, because not only is it paying a property tax, they're also spending money buying furniture, buying mini blinds, buying
materials to
outfit the house. And so they're paying sales tax, which most of the time, if they're paying the sales tax in the city, then the city's getting that money back just from that one home. So, you know, each time there's a home built and sold, just an average, you know, $100,000 to $150,000 home, you're looking at least $3,000 or more coming back to the county. Of course, the bigger the home is, the more money is going to come back to the county. So, but when you build homes, you have to also have businesses to support those homes. And what happens is, if there's not any business, or there are not any small businesses in this county that are generating the need for the home, then you're losing out on the business taxes, and you're losing out on the taxes that would be paid on the property, simply because if you don't have any businesses bringing in jobs, then you have no people who have jobs seeking new homes or existing homes. Even an existing home generates tax revenue because it goes through a reassessment, and those people are doing the same thing. They're buying stuff to put in that home, so they're generating a sales tax. So you know, that's where I want to focus more on, is bringing in more small businesses. You know, your 1 to 100 employees. You know, those type of businesses. The small manufacturing businesses or the small service industry type businesses, because that's where your best, in my opinion, that's where your best tax base payers come from, is the small businesses, and then the market it generates from people buying new or existing homes.
Well, you know, most people think that large industry is responsible for most of the employment in the United States, and they're wrong. It's the small businesses who are responsible for most of the employment in the United States of America.
Yep.
And whenever you get a light industry that would maybe come in, you're going to get spin-off businesses that may supply parts or pieces or materials or whatever to that light industry that may start up in Jackson County just to service that business. And so you're going to get more employees there. Now, economic development is the key to moving the county forward without having to raise taxes. the more business we can attract into the county, the more industry we can attract into the county, the more jobs we create, the more our citizens are employed, the more tax base we have, and the better the quality of life is going to be.
Correct. And you know, we have a great base of large industry here, you know, with the shipyards.
We're very lucky, yes.
And Signal and all the, you know, we're very fortunate in what we have here, and it's something that, you know, we can't take for granted. But at the same time, you know, we can't depend on those large industries to support everything. So if we have, in my opinion, if we have smaller businesses in here, smaller manufacturers, you know, like I said, the 10 to the 500 jobs, you
yes.
know, that doesn't flood the county all at one time with one big business, and it doesn't take away from other businesses with those employees. So that's the kind of businesses I'm looking forward to attracting, and I really believe that can be done. You know, a supervisor has a lot of influence on, you know, somebody who wants to locate to this area, and you know, if we don't have, you know, good infrastructure, if we don't have, you know, ready built homes, if we don't have you know, the roads and stuff in, then large, you know, them kind of companies are not going to look at us. But at the same time, a supervisor who can relate to these small business people like I can hopefully, you know, let them see how great we are, and hopefully encourage them to invest here instead of somewhere else.
So you feel like the contacts you may have made on the boards you've been on, the business that you've been in over the years will help you in attracting and knowing how to get more small business into the county? Oh,
most definitely, most definitely. I've networked throughout this state. Also, I'm the 2013 past president of the State Home Builders Association, and while my time in the Home Builders Association for the last 12 years, I've networked all over the state, and I really enjoy, you know, getting out, meeting people, and seeing if I can bring, whether I'm a supervisor or not, I'm always promoting Jackson County through my business, because I know, you know, in my business, it's good business to promote. So I try to promote as much business coming to Jackson County as I can, even not being a supervisor.
To a large degree, the Board of Supervisors, as far as budgetary concerns go, they have a tremendous amount of responsibility on budgets, and they work tremendously most of the year on how to spend the money, where to spend the money, what the specific needs are, and I run a nonprofit business, but I don't run a for-profit business. But I could see where maybe if you ran a business, having to deal with, okay, I got to have this amount of money to do this, I got to have that amount of money to do that, this money's coming in from here, where do I get that money? That would drive me crazy.
Yeah, it would. And
so I could see where your experience as a small businessman in the county that you live in would probably be an asset for you as far as being on the board.
Correct.
And you know, it always fascinates me why people want to run for office, because I know in a lot of ways it's really a non-appreciated job. I mean, there's always somebody going to come to you with a problem, and you're going to get very few pats on the back, but you're also going to get a lot of complaints. So, you know, hats off to you for wanting to serve. Is that the reason why you're running? Is it because you want to serve people in Jackson County?
I want to serve my community. And like I said before, I'm born and raised here, and I've always just wanted to see this county on top. I mean, even my years at the sheriff's office, you know, I worked diligently for 3 different sheriffs to make sure that, at least from my end, the sheriff's office was always projected as a professional organization, and it was, you know, great when other people would recognize you, or other agencies would recognize you for you know, the good job you were doing. And I when I worked for the sheriff's office, actually the last 8 years while I was there, I ran a program called the Criminal Interdiction Canine Program, and I actually made the county money. I mean, you know, through drug interdiction and money seizures and asset seizures and stuff. I mean, over a 6-year period, I brought in over $2 million to the county. Actually, it came to the sheriff's office, and you're able to spend that money on supplementing, equipment needs. You can't supplement salary, but there was one time where we needed bulletproof vests, and the county didn't have it in the budget, so we were able to take it out of drug forfeiture money and buy all the deputies bulletproof vests. There was times where the sheriff's office might have needed 20 cars, but the supervisors could only approve 10. Well, we'd just take drug forfeiture money and buy the other 10 cars with it. So, I'm experienced with the county, and I'm experienced with making the county money. So, why can't I bring that experience to the supervisor position and do the same thing?
All it takes is votes.
All it takes is the votes.
Yeah.
And that's what that's the reason why I'm running. I just want to see our county do better, and I know it can. And being on the board of being on the utility board for the last 7 years, the infrastructure is just about in. It's just about complete, and this county really has a chance to blossom in the right directions with the right leadership, and that's what I want to bring to the board of supervisors.
Well, Randy, we're going to have to take a short 30-second break, folks, but don't go away. We'll be back with more of our conversation with Mr. Randy Bosarge. He's a candidate for District 5 Board of Supervisors. We'll be back in 30 seconds, so join us then.
Gulf Coast Army Navy in Pascagoula has everything you're looking for, with a huge selection to choose from. From security gear to medals, insignias, and patches, we've got you covered. Looking for fire-retardant clothing? Look no farther than Gulf Coast Army Navy. Camping gear, Boy Scout equipment, we've got it all. Looking for 550 cord? We've got it. Work boots? We've got that too. And don't forget, we handle all your embroidery needs. Gulf Coast Army Navy, 1824 Denny Avenue, Pascagoula.
Welcome back to Spotlight on Jackson County. We're continuing our conversation tonight in the TV studio here at WKFK with Mr. Randy Bosarge. He is the candidate for District 5 Supervisor. Randy, welcome back to the show. Thank you for taking the time to come into the studio. We really do appreciate it.
I enjoy it.
Some great information that the potential voters would want to hear from you. We all know that there's a big settlement coming from BP. And the Board of Supervisors will definitely have a voice in how that money is spread around, spent, what kind of projects it may go on. We were talking during the break about Gravelly Bayou and how it used to have one of the biggest oyster reefs and most bountiful oyster reefs. But there's been some problems with that, and they've been taking the oysters out and sending them somewhere else. But would you like to see that kind of redone so that know Gravelly is back the way it used to be years ago?
That would be my #1 request for the restoration. Now that the infrastructure, the Ocean Beach area and St. Andrews area, now has a centralized sewer system. All right, so for all these years, all that development going on down there, pre-Katrina, all the septic tanks, most of them were not functioning properly, and they were leaching into the Gravelly Bay. That's the reason why years ago you couldn't oyster in there anymore, is because there was too much sediment from the septic tanks going in there. So now with this centralized sewer system within the next year, probably by the end of this year, the utility authority should have 100%. Everybody should be hooked up and going into the central system. And one of the parts of that is that when the new system goes in, the septic tank gets taken out, or well, it gets pumped out, filled in with sand, and
it's no longer
eliminated. So, but once that water quality starts getting better, it's my hope that the Gravelly Bay oyster reef will come back. I remember as a kid, my grandfather and my grandfather's brother both were oystermen, and that'd be the place we'd go to tong oysters, is over there. And so I would love for Gravelly Bay to come back as the oyster reef it was. And not only Gravelly Bay, but Bayou Herring had the same situation. With the development they had going on out there, and it was all low property at the time. Septic tanks were leaching into the bayou and the marsh and stuff. And so now that all that's been in the flood buyout over the last couple of years, Now that area should be cleaning up also. So I would push to have the oyster restoration there also, and to get, you know, Jackson County at one time, you know, in the 50s, 60s, early 70s, was probably known for oysters more than it was known for anything. And some of the best oysters on the coast came from those two areas in Jackson County. So I would love to see those come back.
It's a lot of other natural resources we have here that really are going to need attention. And
Correct.
The Board of Supervisors is going to have a great deal to say about where that money's spent, and you advocating to spend it on that kind of stuff rather than maybe some gazebo or something.
Right. I want as much of it as we can spend on natural restoration. You know, get our fishing reefs back, you know, that were destroyed by multiple hurricanes. You know, get our water cleaned up to where, you know, you have no worries when you catch a fish and you eat it, you know, or crabs. You know, our crab population is, from what I've been told, is way down. So I would love to see, you know, the crab population, you know, whether they harvest crabs and put them out there and let them grow just like they do with fish. I mean, there's got to be some other ways that we can use this money to bring back some of our natural resources and not just build monuments to you know, to show off that we got some money.
Well, you know, we got to pass this down to our children.
Correct.
And our grandchildren. I mean, that's the only way. If we don't take action, then we won't be preserving this for future generations. And y'all, the board's going to have a great deal to say about that.
Whether I'm on there or not, they're going to have a tremendous say-so in how that money's spent in this county. I mean, you know, this county, Harrison County, and Hancock County will have a little bit of these restoration funds to spend, and you know, the supervisors are going to be there. You know, they're going to have a large say in this.
Yeah. Now, Randy, if I may, Randy, I believe in town hall meetings, and I don't believe we're having enough of them. I believe that for a large part, and I don't know how the people in the public feel about it, but I feel like sometimes politicians aren't listening.
Correct.
I know if they call them on the phone, and I know a lot of the supervisors answer the phone or call people back. I know y'all are doing that. I'm not criticizing anybody, but the opportunity to have a venue by which to have a supervisor give you an update.
Right.
Okay, it's one thing to read a short newspaper story, but to have a supervisor come in and give you an update. This is what's happening in Jackson County since the last time we had a town hall meeting.
Correct.
And to be able to answer a question. Do you believe in having those? I mean,
most definitely. In fact, I in my business, as I said before, I like to network. So in my business, I'm out meeting other people and dealing with people on a daily basis. So this would just be part of my daily job. And in fact, now that District 5 is condensed a little bit, you know, I would propose having a town hall meeting in South Van Cleve, and I would propose having a town hall meeting in the Gulf Park Estates, St. Andrews, Ocean Beach Estates area. I would try to have one meeting a year, if not more. One for South Van Cleve and one for the south of I-10 area, and try to have as many as 2 a year, you know, for each area, because I'm gonna tell you, a lot of times, you know, 6 months goes by and something else has happened, and you really need to go back out there and meet the people and find out what they're, you know, because a lot of people, they have all intentions of calling you, and even if they call you, you know, they feel like, you know, they're getting lip service, but when they see you in person and they talk to you in person and they hear you talking to other folks, and as long as everybody is happy with the results that they've had so far, then that goes a long way with the general public, and that makes them feel good that you've taken care of somebody else, so take care of them. And you can do that very efficiently with town hall meetings. So I agree with it. I love them.
Almost, you know, boots on the ground always makes a difference. And if you see your elected official in your neighborhood addressing a problem, you kind of get the feeling. I know I do.
Yeah.
And I don't see that many of them, but I know I would feel like, you know, hey, this guy cares about our area here, and that's why he's out here. So Good. I'm glad to hear that you would be open for town hall meetings, because I really think we need a whole lot more of those.
Oh, most definitely.
Than we're having now.
To me, that's the best way to have the interaction with the citizens is having the town hall meetings, especially if they're promoted in the right format. You know, if you give everybody a week's notice that you're going to have this town hall meeting here, it gives them enough time to put it on their schedule and to be there. And look, I would love to be able to have them in some of the biggest venues around, you know, because I want as many people to come out and tell me their concerns. Because, look, that's my job as supervisor. I work for the people. I would be working for the people, and I want to listen to them, and I want to come try to. I might not be able to do everything, but I'm going to do as much as I can to make things happen.
At least you're listening.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Randy, we got about 3 minutes in the show, and I guess I've saved the elephant in the room for last.
All right.
And, you know, I got to ask, Singer River Hospital System.
Yeah, yeah. You know, Doug, I worked at Singer River Hospital System for over 12 years part-time while I worked at the Sheriff's Office. And a lot of those people there, retirees and current employees, are my friends. Some of them are my family. And I'm very passionate about this because I don't like to see my family or friends suffer. And those people were promised a pension, and they were for the hard work they've done for all the years that they were there. Even the people that are there now that's been there for 30-something years, you know, they've all worked hard. They've made that hospital what it is today, and they were promised to be taken care of once they did their time, and so. My goal as supervisor would be to figure out a way for the hospital to honor that commitment. And I'm talking about the whole commitment. I'm not talking about small percentages here, small percentages there. I'm talking about the whole commitment. That's what these people worked for. Some of these people, I know friends of mine that had chances to go work at other hospitals, and they chose not to because of the retirement program. At Singer River was the best around, and so they chose to stay there. And so they anticipated when they retired that they would draw retirement. Now, yeah, did you know, was some of that mismanaged over the years? Probably so. You know, it probably should have been contributed more to by employees and the hospital when it got in trouble, but it wasn't. So, you know, hopefully as supervisor, you know, my goal would be to work with whoever the board of trustees are to try to get this in the current management. And if management needs to change, then so be it. I'll vote for a management change in a heartbeat. I will vote for a trustee change in a heartbeat if I need to do that. As supervisor, I'm going to do whatever needs to be done to bring the hospital back to where it used to be, and where it had, you know, it just had hardly no debt. It worked within its means, and the people were very happy. And retirees were happy, and current employees were happy. So we've got to get that hospital, for the sake of our county, we've got to get that hospital back on track. And that's what I want to do as supervisor.
Well, thank you very much. I agree with you. It's a great hospital system, as a matter of fact.
Oh, the best.
I was just there this morning and got a CT scan, but and thank you to Singer River Hospital System, your imaging center in Ocean Springs. Everybody there was fantastic to me, and they made that situation very, very easy for me. Now, Randy, we got about a minute left in the show, and I want to give you the last minute in the show to look right over there in that camera. Yep. Tell the viewers of Jackson County exactly why you want to be their supervisor from District 5.
If citizens of Jackson County, I really stress this importantly, is that we have an important decision to make August the 4th. And if you're ready for an honest, hard-working, transparent, tell it like it is person, then please vote for Randy Bosarge for Supervisor District 5. And I will work the best, I will do the best, I'll work the hardest, I'll do what it takes to bring this county and put it back on top where it deserves. And but I can only do that with you, the citizens of District 5. So I thank you for your support and any consideration. And Doug, thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate you coming in. Anytime we can help you, just let us know. That's what our job is here at WKFK. I enjoyed seeing you again. It's been a long time, but I enjoyed visiting with you. And Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I enjoyed seeing you again. Until the next time we see you on another great spotlight on Jackson County. So join us again next time for another great show. We'll see you then.